Hey there everyone, my name is Chris and I will be your host in today's episode of the History of the Daredevil, the man without fear. Lock and load because it's the real deal. Daredevil's alias is Matt Murdock and he was raised in Hell's Kitchen neighborhood of New York City by his father and boxer Jack Murdock. From a young age, Matt was already pushed extra hard in school so he could have a better future than his father did. To be able to support himself and Matt, Jack was forced to work for a local mobster named the Fixer and do some pretty illegal things. While his father wasn't home, Matt would secretly train himself to fight on his father's equipment, developing a strong base for fighting already. While walking down the street one day, Matt noticed a blind man about to get hit by a truck, so he immediately ran in front of him and pushed the blind man out of the way, saving his life. Unfortunately enough though, the truck was carrying radioactive waste and some of it spilled directly onto Matt's eyes, causing him to go blind. But with his vision gone, Matt's other senses became insanely magnified and he developed a sort of sight similar to how a radar sees things and is able to see the shapes and outlines of certain objects. The radiation also changed his brain chemistry and made him a lot smarter. It turned out though that all of Jack Murdock's fights were rigged and that was why he was winning. It was his turn to throw in the towel this time round and purposely lose, but with his son watching, Jack just couldn't do it, so he knocked his opponent out cold and on his ass. This angered the mobster a whole lot though, since he lost a lot of money and he killed Jack shortly after. After this tragic loss though, Matt was motivated to study harder and train even harder. He eventually graduated from law school, top of the class, and made a law firm with his friend Franklin Nelson, vowing to seek justice for all the people in Hell's Kitchen. Thus, Daredevil was born. Daredevil receives his powers from the fact that he has gone blind and his other senses have been enhanced to a superhuman level. He was already a very proficient fighter from all the self-training that he did and the training with his dad, but he eventually became one of the strongest fighters in the Marvel Universe after being taught the dark arts of the ninja by a blind old man named The Stick, a senior master and member of the secret order known as the Chaste. Daredevil's powers and abilities include superhuman sensory system. His senses have been honed to such high levels over the years that when Psylocke, a mutant with telepathic abilities, tried to read his mind, she was completely overwhelmed and found that Murdock was experiencing a lot of information at all times, demonstrating the scale of psychological training he was on. Stanley has also stated that Daredevil's radar sense is better than that of Spider-Man's spider sense. Superhuman touch. He's able to feel minute temperature changes and can feel the presence of a person standing near him simply by his or her body heat and disturbance of the air. Murdock is also complete and utter control of his entire nervous system and thus total control of his body, increasing his reflexes tenfold and giving him the ability to completely numb himself off from any sort of pain at all. Superhuman hearing. Matt can hear a person's heartbeat from a distance of over 20 feet and has even been known to hear people whispering on the other side of soundproofed walls. Murdock is also able to mentally block out specific sounds such as his own breathing and heartbeat to concentrate on what he wants. With this ability, he is able to detect whether people are lying or not by the changes in beating rhythms of their hearts. Superhuman balance. Murdock's balance center gives him full body equilibrium more than any other superheroes and is possibly on par or even above that of Spider-Man's. Master martial artist. Daredevil knows tricks of the trade to controlling his chi, vanishing, and stealth. He is well versed in pressure points of the human body and uses them when fighting to stun, paralyze, and even kill his opponents. Murdock's fighting style is a blend of Western style boxing, ninjutsu, judo, jujitsu, capoeira, stick fighting, and kung fu. He has fought opponents such as Black Panther, Taskmaster, Captain America, Sabretooth, and Wolverine, and has easily held his own. Other powers and abilities that the Daredevil possesses include superhuman taste, superhuman smell, slight telepathy, expert detective, master acrobat, proficiency at a range of weapons, and radar sense. Daredevil has used a total of 4 costumes throughout his course of the career as a crime fighter, each costume corresponding to a psychological turmoil that he was going through, but after resolving those problems, he now exclusively just uses the red costume. The horns on his costume serve as antennae that can pick up radio waves and act as a police scanner so he's able to swiftly locate crime. Matt uses a multi-purpose cane, which is his main weapon of choice, and it has many different modes that it can change into. It can be transformed into 2 short sticks that are held together by a cable, nunchucks, dual short sticks, a staff, or cables with grappling hooks. This weapon is held by a holster on the side of Matt's left leg. Other weapons that Daredevil has used in the past include a multi-purpose billy club and wrist blades that were attached onto his arm. As with any other superhero out there, Daredevil possesses weaknesses himself, and these include blindness. Despite being one of the main reasons as to why he has his other superpowers and abilities, it is still weakness as he simply cannot see. Sound and smell overload. Under extreme circumstances, Matt Murdock can suffer great pain and even become immobilized when overwhelmed with intense sounds and smells. Adversaries he has come up against has used it to their advantage in fighting him. Once the disruptive senses wear off though, he's able to return his senses back to 100%. Non-superhuman physical conditioning. Despite Daredevil being the insanely capable human being that he is, at the end of the day he is still a human and does not possess any kind of superhuman physical capability. This makes him susceptible to physical injury and sickness just like any other human being, forcing him to often have to rely on strategy rather than power when coming up against other superhuman opponents. Thank you everyone for watching this episode on History of the Daredevil. Hope you found it both interesting and entertaining on the man Matt Murdock himself, whom I find especially interesting and that he doesn't get as much attention as some of the other big names out there. Until next time.